Hi everybody, now you may well have noticed that the rate at which I've been pushing content into the Scale Speeder Gaming channel has dropped recently. And this is because I've been working on lots of content on VR. Because recently I bought a Meta Quest 2 VR headset. So this video for this channel is going to be more review about that and whether, if you're interested in VR, is the Meta Quest 2 worth investing your time and money in? However, in the description below this video, you'll find a link to my new channel, SSG VR, where really I'm going to be lumping together all the VR stuff, because within the VR sort of space, I tend to mess around with things that aren't always associated with the games and things I do on the main channel, and I just wanted to split them out. But if you're interested, click on that, go over there, and if you wouldn't mind subscribing, that would be lovely. So I'm going to talk about in this video what the Meta Quest 2 is capable of, what it comes with, and of course one of the massive deciding factors, especially at the moment, is how much it costs. Now, depending on when you watch this video, you'll either still be able to buy the Meta Quest 2 at a bargain price, or you'll be looking at a second-hand one. So, you know, that depends. But at the moment, at the time of recording the video, you can still buy them new. As far as what it comes with, one of the reasons why it's such a bargain at the moment is it comes with these amazing touch, I'm going to call them touch controllers, but basically each controller has sensors in it, for spatial awareness kind of thing, I guess. It also each one has 2 triggers on it, each one has 2 face buttons and a joystick and like an options button, which is pretty good. I mean, these things must be worth at least £40 each as well. I mean, I remember getting the PlayStation VR, and one of the big problems with that, the one that you could get if you had a PlayStation 4, was that it didn't come with any controllers, which was a real bummer. You had to use your DualSense controller, didn't you? And the actual controllers were horrendously expensive for that, because they were the ones that were used with the PlayStation camera for the PlayStation 3. So that was a bit ridiculous. I think, didn't you even have to buy the camera as well to go with the PSVR? Or it might have come with, I can't quite remember. But anyway, the fact that you get these controllers and you get a charger is pretty good. Also in the box you'll get the foam interface that you put on the inside, and like a vinyl cover to make it more comfortable. I think it comes with a short USB cable as well. For charging. One of the things you probably will end up buying, and I'll talk about this a little bit later in the video as well, you probably will end up buying a long USB 3 cable as well. So I think what's important to understand about the Meta Quest 2, and lots of VR headsets these days as well, but in particular the Meta Quest 2, is that it is capable of standalone VR and what's referred to as PC VR. So standalone VR is the fact that in the Meta Quest 2 it's got its own CPU and GPU, or it's probably an APU, it's probably a combined one with its own memory and its own storage. It's Android based, but it means it can play games in and of itself. So even if you didn't have a gaming PC to play VR games, you can buy one of these and it will play VR games. Now, the quality of those VR games obviously isn't as in-depth as PC VR games, but they're still pretty good. I would say they're probably equivalent to, the graphics are probably equivalent to Xbox 360 sort of graphics. And the beauty of them is that it's completely wireless. There's no drop in video quality because they're running on the headset itself, and they have been a real big eye-opener for me. So for example, playing something like Beat Saber or the Crazy Golf or the Zombie Land game is really good fun with the built-in games. And also you get things like Netflix, and there's a web browser and YouTube and lots of different apps that you can play or you can use in the headset itself. So even if you're watching this and thinking, well, I haven't got a PC capable of running PC VR games, actually, wait a minute, I could use this to play to play standalone games. There's quite a few out there. I guess the long-term problem with that is how long devs are going to make these sort of games. How much money are the publishers making from standalone games that they put on the headset? Now, hopefully, the fact that this headset is so cheap and Meta have been selling so many of them, tens of thousands of them, that it's going to be, support is going to be around for a long time. So but it's definitely an aspect of the Meta Quest 2 that I didn't think it would be as good as it is, and it surprised me the most. However, the thing that interested me about the Meta Quest 2 was its ability to play PC VR games, which is what I tend to think of as VR anyway. So this is where your computer is running the game, and then it's transferring the graphics to your headset, and this can be done wirelessly, which is a big plus point, or via a wire. So with me, it was really because I started playing games like Il-2 Sturmovik, World War II Combat Flight Simulator, and I bought myself a HOTAS. But when you watch the videos about that, the people on YouTube, they all tend to be using VR headsets because you need to be able to look around really fast. And I thought, yeah, this is something I want to get into. But I didn't realise the price of these headsets. I just thought they were out of my price range because the PlayStation VR 2 is more expensive than a PlayStation 5. And I thought, well, I'm not going to get stung by buying a PSVR product again, especially the fact that the new PSVR doesn't support, or as far as I know, doesn't play the original PSVR games, which is a bummer. You've got to have a PlayStation 5, and I haven't. I've got an Xbox Series S. And PlayStation haven't really supported the PSVR 2 in terms of having a robust schedule for releasing games, which is very disappointing. And in fact, I think they're releasing a dongle which means you can plug your PSVR 2 into your PC. So they're going that route, I think, for the reason for people to buy them, but it's quite expensive. Whereas with the Meta Quest 2, it's £200 in the UK, or $200 in the USA, which is a pretty good bargain when you think about everything you get. But it wouldn't be a bargain if it wasn't any good. Actually, what I should also mention as well is the tracking. So you don't have to have any external sensors or cameras or anything. All the tracking is what we would say inside-out tracking. So the headset has little cameras on it, so it looks at the room around you. You can do it stationary, like sitting down, or you can virtually paint on the floor of the room where you are, because it has a pass-through, so in black and white you can see the world around you, and say, look, this is my safe area, so you don't bump into things. And then it just knows where you are, and the tracking is absolutely fantastic. So for £200, this is a bit of a bargain. So when you're playing the internal standalone VR games, about Xbox 360, pretty cool, pretty good. But I've got to say that when you want to play your proper PC VR games, and make sure your PC can support VR games before you buy a Meta Quest 2 for this reason, it's really good as well. It's surprisingly easy to set up, to link the Meta Quest 2 to your PC, and wirelessly it works over your home Wi-Fi network, so you really need to have a 5 GHz Wi-Fi network. You're meant to have your wireless router in the same room as the headset, and your PC should be connected to that router via a LAN cable. Now, in my particular case, it isn't. My gaming PC is connected to my router via Wi-Fi, and the router is a couple of rooms away from where I sit with the headset on. So that means the quality I get isn't as good, which means there has to be more compression done. But even with that though, playing games like Il-2 Sturmovik, playing Microsoft Flight Simulator, playing Assetto Corsa, has all been an awful lot of fun and very, very playable. But I would say, if you get into this, and it is for doing things like playing Microsoft Flight Simulator or Il-2 or Assetto Corsa, when you buy a long USB 3 cable and you connect the headset to your computer that way, the clarity of the graphics does go up significantly of things that are in the distance. Also, it reduces the lag in terms of controller input as well. So I found that, especially in a quick twitch game like Assetto Corsa, which is a driving game, having a wired connection meant that the graphics looked better and the graphics looked sharper, but also the steering felt better and the game felt better too. So although I'm a little bit loath to use a wired connection, because as soon as you use a wired connection, you've got this wire that's hanging around that can be a trip hazard, and you can feel it dragging on the headset unless you do different things to kind of stop it doing that way. It means you've got to unplug it and plug it back in, depending on what you're trying to do. And it can be a bit of a pain, but if you can accept that compromise of going back to a wired system, the graphics are a little bit better that way. So I've had the MetaQuest 2 for a few weeks now. I've been playing it every single day. And I've had some amazing experiences. I would say Assetto Corsa, the driving game, which I got for £1.50 on Steam, is amazing. As is Il 2 Sturmovik, flying in a Heinkel 111 bomber high above a winter Stalingrad in late 1942. It's something else. You're kind of going beyond video games. I think you even go, I know this sounds a bit silly, but you're going beyond simulators. It's taking you to a different place. That I'm not quite sure what to describe it as. Maybe it's because, especially in the case of Il 2 Sturmovik, I'm very much interested in history and World War II, and sitting in that cockpit and looking around and seeing the sheer detail, and looking down from a few thousand feet and seeing the Volga below me, brings something to life that other flat-based video games really they just don't get there in the same way. So one of the things I'm looking forward to, but I'm not judging the MetaQuest 2 in this video about, is modding flat PC games into VR as well, because you can do this sort of thing. There's various programs to do that, And I'm thinking, what will it be like playing, for example, the story campaign in Battlefield 1 in VR? That could be pretty amazing. That, or experiencing the jungle of the Prairie Fire DLC for Arma 3 in VR. What would that be like? Walking around the Raccoon City police station from Resident Evil 2 Remake in VR. What's that like? Because I really believe that VR it's an most of the time it's an arcade-like experience. So it's something that you do for sort of 20 minutes, half an hour, and generally you've had enough by then. Because although I've never felt ill or anything like that, after a while you do get a bit hot, you do get a bit sweaty. The field of view is quite tight, and you just want to take the helmet off, take the headset off, and let your face breathe, and let your eyes focus on different things. So I'm really into the idea of just having an experience of not really playing something like Cyberpunk 2077 or Hogwarts Legacy or DayZ in VR, not playing through the whole game, but just experiencing walking around Night City or the Hogwarts Castle or Chernerus in VR for 20 minutes, half an hour, and just kind of enjoying that. So kind of in conclusion then, I think if you are a casual PC gamer, then I think the MetaQuest 2 is definitely worth looking at this price. I think if you're more a serious PC gamer, say you're really into your racing sims, and you've got a steering wheel, maybe you've got 3 monitors, you've got a seat, you've got throttles, all that sort of stuff, or maybe if you're into your flying sims, you've got a full HOTAS system, you've got a seat, you've got pedals, and you've got more than one monitor, then you may want to spend more money on a headset that's got a wider field of view and better resolution. But if you're casual about it, like I am, where I'm not going to be playing VR all the time. I don't play Flight Simulator all the time. I don't play Assetto Corsa all the time. I'm playing lots of different games, some of which you would not want to play in VR at all. Then I think the MetaQuest 2 at this price is pretty amazing. It really is, and a real bargain. And so far seems to be a really great piece of kit. I mean, bear in mind this is a PC accessory, and Windows and PC stuff can be a bit janky every now and again. So it's not a completely smooth console experience like you would get with a PSVR. But nothing is insurmountable, and there's lots of content out there on YouTube showing you how to do stuff. And I've been using my MetaQuest 2 an awful lot. And what you will be seeing on this channel is where I do solve some problems to do with getting into games that I cover on this channel. So things like DayZ, things like Arma, things like Resident Evil, things like Battlefield. I'll be bringing some of that content to the main Scale Speeder Gaming channel, and then the more niche stuff will be over on the Scale Speeder, the SSG VR channel as well. So there we go. So again, to finish things off, MetaQuest 2, check it out. If you've got the cash and you're interested in VR, maybe pick one up, while you can still get them cheap. If you're watching this video, however, and the Meta Quest 2 isn't available anymore and they moved on to the next one, if it's in that same price bracket of, say, £200 or $200 to £250 or $250, it's definitely going to be worth checking out if it still comes, with a couple of controllers. And the second-hand option may be, if you can get one for sort of £50, $50, that sort of thing. So it's going to be really interesting to see how much money Meta made and make from selling apps for the Meta Quest system, and whether that's going to be really supported for going forward. Because I know the Meta Quest 3 is very expensive, and the price difference I don't think it's justified for a casual person. If you can get a Meta Quest 2 for £200, $200, that's what you're going to get. So the replacement for the Meta Quest 2, if that's like the Meta Quest 3 Lite or something like that, that's going to be the price point they choose to come in at will be very interesting indeed. But for everybody else, if you can still get Meta Quest 2 for £200, $200, I would say, if you're interested, check it out. Okay, so that's enough from me. Hopefully you found this video useful. If you have, hit like. If you want to see more of the same, press subscribe. And of course, I'll see you again soon.